right now, though, let's talk about something that we started talking about when the Daily Graphic newspaper brought that report. This is the third day, and they've been very consistent reporting on it. I've got the head of the Food Enforcement Department of the FDA, Maria Lovelace Johnson, joining us for breakfast this morning. So, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You're welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to play back in my mind what we did when that report came up. Roland Walker, my colleague, myself, we were recounting because we had all seen items in shops with labels that we couldn't read because it wasn't in English. And we're wondering, haven't you also seen it as a regulator?
Thank you. We have seen them as regulators. The Food and Drugs Authority has import control department that's into import control activities, and an enforcement department that's into enforcement activities like market surveillance. And we are all over the place, always doing our work. When products are coming in, we do the import control bit of it by looking at if it is registered before it gets in. If it's not registered, they get in and we quarantine them. With this particular case, the importer had come to Food and Drugs Authority, applied for registration, brought in samples of the products, and we realized that about 85 to 90% of the products had English labels, even though the English labels were quite smaller. They had about 10 languages on a product.
Okay.
So you see the English labels somewhere at a corner with UK or GB there. They will have ES as for Espanol, DL for Dutch, and all those ones. So FDA got the products in, or we normally get the products in if the products have been brought in for safety assessments and we know that it is safe. So when it gets in, then you need to do supplementary labeling. So this particular case in point, they had to do supplementary labeling. We quarantined the products. We saw some in the shops. We got them off the shelves, got them into the warehouse, and asked them to do supplementary labeling. So after the supplementary labeling of a particular product, they can get them onto the markets. And this is what we've been doing with them. From the publication you even saw, you realize that they said that our last interaction with them was the 10th of April. And the publication came out on the 17th of April. So looking at it, it's just about 4 working days. We were there on the 10th, so it's about 11th, 12th, 15th and 16th were Saturday and Sunday. So 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, between that period, they had taken the things back to the shelves.
So you're talking about one of the shops, which is the
Actually,
Citidia?
Yes, Citidia had the other 2 shops. One had a baby's cot that didn't have a manual in English. That doesn't have to do with Food and Drugs Authority. It doesn't fall under our purview if it's a baby's cot. And they talked about kitchenware in another shop. That also does not fall under the purview of the FDA. But the wipes
and the diapers?
Yes, the wipes and the diapers do fall under the purview of the FDA.
Okay.
Yes. So what we did was quarantine them and then ask them to do the supplementary labeling under our supervision. And we were doing that. So we guess what they were doing is when they see us around, they put out the good ones. And as soon as we step out, they put the bad ones back on the shelves, which is very bad. And by so doing, they have flouted our law, the Public Health Act.
So you're saying that even before the reports came out, you were already involved?
We have evidence to show we were involved with them. We had letters to telling them they should take it off. We were there. We were present in all their shops. We had gone there, taking all the products off their shelves. And we had quarantined other new shipments coming in as well. So as soon as we turn and leave to another shop, then they put the products back. What we also realized was that they had done some of the supplementary labeling that was done under our supervision. So if a particular product, I have pictures there that I could even show you, but we have let's say they have a particular product and they put supplementary labels on 20, then they leave about 10 without supplementary labels. And they put them in front, and the rest will be at the back or some other part of it, and at some other part it's not there. So we know they have done that. They have done the supplementary labeling and put only those with the supplementary labels on the shelves, and they clandestinely add some of those that don't have it. And when we queried them, they were like, it was their workers who were trying to pull the first one on the directors, and so that's how it. But really, it's not up to who did what and what. It shouldn't be there.
So clearly, I mean, they've tried to go around.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And they've clearly breached the laws.
Yes, they have.
So what happens to them?
Penalties.
The Public Health Act spells.
The Public Health Act spells is out that you have certain penalty units. We don't have fixed amounts. We have penalty units, and then that will be multiplied by, I think, 12 CDs per one penalty. And I think they have about 75,000 penalty units as a minimum. The law is clear on that. I don't have the law with me. It's so clear on that that they will have to face that. We will, or else they can even go to jail.
But I'm just wondering, you know, you've been involved, and I'm just wondering why, and as to why an outlet would do that when the regulator, when they know that the regulator's eyes are on me.
That's what beats.
You know, that's like breaching with impunity.
Absolutely. And going forward, we are looking at getting our own warehouses or getting people pre-qualifying some warehouses and getting the products in there. The problem is because the products are in their own warehouse, they have access to the warehouse, they have access to the things that are even quarantined. You remember I told you that they had about 85% of the products compliant. So in a warehouse where you have 85% of the products compliant and 15% non-compliant, we cannot say we are locking it up and keeping the keys and you can't get there until we get there, because 85% of the products are compliant. So the 15%, we couldn't just lock them up by ourselves. Now, and because we don't even have warehouses, going forward, we need to acquire warehouses. So our plan is acquisition of warehouses, either by owning them ourselves or getting people.
Isn't that a long-term, expensive project?
No, we can.
That will take like forever to do.
No, in the meantime, we could just, if you have a warehouse, we could tell you, give it to us, let's rent it out. I mean, rent it out to us. Let's find ways of paying. Either they will have to pay as soon as you bring in non-compliant products or unregistered products, you come in. We'll have to find ways around it to have full control on the products. Because with this experience, we don't need to get this repeated. Because he knows they will try and find ways around it. They have it in their care. They feel, well, we have it there, maybe 3,000 cartons. If they pull one carton out somewhere, because we said 3,000 in accounting, we'll do some multiplication, length times breadth and height. And if they take one in the middle, we may not really, you know, that kind of thing. So we do not even want to tempt them at all. We're going to have full control. Henceforth, if you bring in any products, then we will have to have full control of the product.
Are they still closed?
No, they are open now. They have taken all those ones out back into their warehouses. So the ones in are compliant.
The fear is that they're still keeping it. It's still in their custody.
This is where
so
the
how
problem
sure
is.
are we? Because then it means that you have to be
not.
policing them
every minute, and that is where the problem is. Because we even police them on the 10th of April. And this is where the problem is. So can we police them every minute in the night?
Who are they? Who are they? Is this a Ghanaian-owned company?
No, that's Spanish-Italian economic Ecodi. That's the TDA.
I can imagine that a Ghanaian could not do this elsewhere.
No, I don't think so.
So it means that, I mean, something must be wrong with the system, wouldn't you say? Because if you're a foreigner and you're operating in our country, you should be doing things by the books.
Yes.
Let citizens try to find ways around because they are citizens. I mean, well, that's not a good excuse. In fact, it is not good. But I'm just trying to be Ghanaian here.
Yeah.
But for somebody to come in and breach our laws the way that they have done,
They really, from the director's point of view, they thought things were being done the right way. According to them, it was a bit of negligence on their part, and the people they are working with, who obviously are Ghanaians, are those who may have done, let's say, 200 supplementary labels on a particular, taking 300 out clandestinely. That's what they are claiming, but that's up to them. Whether it is whoever did it, you are still held responsible. Once you are the head, you are still held responsible. So they are still held responsible. The company will have to face the full rigors of the law.
So this comes with just a fine?
It's a legal thing. It could be a fine. It could be imprisonment as well.
Oh,
that's
so
legal.
Are we beginning like a court process? Are we taking them on? Are we going to court on this?
Yes, because they flouted the law. They will go.
Is the punishment punitive enough? Because
yes, it is.
I'm thinking that maybe really they may have looked at the laws and they probably thought, punitive. Oh, we can. This is not so bad. We can. It is
very punitive. It is very punitive. It is very, very punitive.
But this is just
even without going to court and looking at Fees and Charges Amendment Act. Even using that is even very punitive. That can get to quite huge amounts.
But should they be opened when we haven't concluded on this matter?
No, we've taken all the non-compliant ones out. The other ones that are there, the 85% that they have, are products that are safe and are compliant. And they really came in as very compliant, though. Coming with all their products, they came in clean with all that. So for them to do such a thing kind of beats our mind.
I'm just wondering, this is one shop.
Yeah.
Could this be replicated in other places? We may have shops, and I am worried because, and the first thing I said was, should it take us to see it first? Where's FDA? Because you are supposed to be our eyes.
FDA had seen it, and the publication attested to that. In the 17th April publication, they attested. They even said, so they even said the 10th of April. And even after 10th April, we were in other shops. So FDA had seen it. FDA had worked on it. So it is the things they did clandestinely. And you agree with me that we cannot be there 24 hours, 7 days of the...
What's our assurance as people who go and buy products from these places? It could be this particular shop or any other place. How sure are we that what we are buying is safe? Because somebody recounts an experience where he had a reaction after buying a product only to return to the same shop, and then he realized that what he had bought had been brought in from Niger or so, and the inscription he couldn't read because it wasn't in English. So if there's something in there, and could I sue FDA? I mean, who has failed me? Who do I take on?
Let's start from the first. I mean, you have about 3 questions in one question, you know. So the first, how safe is the product? If the product is not safe, we will not even release it at all. We will have even, we do what we call risk assessments. The products that are coming in, we have analyzed all of them. The safety assessment has been done on all of them, 100% of all the products that are coming from this particular
even
company.
those that we couldn't read in English.
Exactly. We had all the, they come with a certificates of analysis, and we do verification tests as laboratories. So we know as far as safety is concerned, but then it's not just about the safety of the product. It has to do with the consumer, the communication with the consumer as well. So that's the labeling thing, and we have a labeling regulation that they have to meet, and it spells out that all the things there should be in English language. And that is what is not there. We even have the translation from Institute of Languages that has all the products. We have all that on paper. But then the thing is, the consumer has the right to know what he or she is buying. Absolutely. And that is why we quarantine for that bit of it. For the safety aspect, that's fine. For the allergy, that is also why the consumer should know. Because you may be allergic to maize, I may be allergic to rice. But that does not mean that maize is not safe or rice is not safe. They are two different things. The safety is one thing and allergy is another. Okay, so it says when you know what you're allergic to, that's when you read the thing, you will know that I do not have to take this. So the other thing, before even the assurance comes, is the reason why we've been doing a lot of public education. If you cannot read and understand what is on the product, please do not buy. That's the little bit you can do to help us. Because as even the publication was, they attested to the fact that we were there even on the 10th of April. By 14th or so, whoever was there saw that something had come within 4 days in those shops. So we are doing all that we can do to protect you, because we have the mandate of ensuring the protection of public health and safety. However, if you're buying something, just read. Just do that bit for us. Can you understand what you are reading? Do you know what the product is? Because if it's from somewhere in another language and you do not know, what do you really think you are buying?
You know, I want to believe that a good number of people also rely on the testimonies of the people in the shop. So you walk in and you're looking for a particular product.
Please don't do that.
And then they can tell you, oh, this one is really good.
Please don't
this
do
one
that.
Is
that will not help us.
People buy based on testimonies.
That will not help us, please. That will not help you. It will not help us as FDA. Let's just know what we are buying. We've done a lot of public education in that direction. Please ensure that you know what you are buying. Know the name of the product. Know that you are buying tomato paste and not red paint. Know what is in it. If you really do not know what the product is, what is your business buying it? And if all of us do that, they will not even be encouraged to try and bring anything like that into the country. You should even be, I mean, we even go to the extent of its legibility. It can even be there, but it's not even so legible. So even when it's not so legible and you start shying away from it, they will even think of getting the English label very big. In fact, most of the products that people even come up with telling us there is no English labeling and all that, you realize that the English labeling is somewhere small. They have the multiple languages, and also it has about 10 or 20 products.
But what's our standard?
No, once the point is there should be food, there should be the English labeling on it. And all the requirements should be there. That's the name of the product, the list of ingredients, the best before date, and storage conditions, if any. The net weight should be there. The batch number should be there. The country of origin should be there. And the name and address of either the manufacturer or packer or distributor should also be there.
Okay.
So once all these are there in English and they are embossed or printed, we are fine. So that's our standard. So if it's there, and so we don't have the font sizes and all that. So they could have about 10 languages on, and it may be a bit small somewhere in the corner. So people actually think it's not even there, but it's somewhere there, but it could even be bigger.
Okay.
But the laws do not say it should be of a certain font size and all that.
So with this particular situation, can I say that you failed us?
That's a difficult question to answer. We didn't fail you. We didn't fail. As I told you, even the publication attests to the fact that we were there on the 10th of April.
But the fact that
they came in between, and you know, we have so many shops around, so many importers, so many products around. So that is why we have always been telling you, just do your bit for us. And Graphic did its bit, and that is very good. That is very welcome. We've always been putting our hotlines out there. Tell us if you find anything like that, and we can get it off. And in 4 days, I mean, we were there, and within the matter of 4 days, they had done something clandestine.
If we find that they're doing a similar thing, what happens again?
That's really, they will really be in hot waters. In really hot waters. Then they may have to stop selling in Ghana.
There's a flip side. You know, when this issue came up and I was so loud, I was saying in English, and somebody said, how about those of us who couldn't read English?
Well, the lingua franca of Ghana is English language. We cannot go beyond that. Now, it is English language. And the laws, that's the LI 1541, the general labeling rules, spell it out clearly that all these things I mentioned, the name and address of manufacturer, plus all these things, should be in English. So that's it. So if you can't read, get someone. Ghanaians are very helpful.
Yeah.
They will help you read.
Okay. Just a little clarification. So you're saying that at the entry points, you could still come in with the products not labeled in English.
And we quarantine them. And that is if the products have had the safety assessments already. And these products that we are talking about have had their safety assessments already. They've brought them in.
So you saw them at the entry points?
We did.
Okay.
We did actually see them.
Except that when...
And we quarantine them.
Except that they were still in not your hands because you don't have a warehouse to keep those products.
That's where the problem comes from.
Okay.
So we need to nip this in the bud so that we don't have a recurrence. And that is we acquiring warehouses, either first and foremost looking for, in the short term, looking for people who have and pre-qualifying them and getting them, giving them to us and using. And then in the long term, as you said, maybe build warehouses all over. Maybe in the very near future, if anybody may not even bring it in. Or we henceforth maybe take a stance that if you bring it in, you need to re-export.
Okay. You mentioned a hotline in wrapping up.
Yes,
if it's available, if anybody...
We have toll free on Vodafone and Airtel at 0800 151 000. Let me take it again, 0800 151 000. Then we have the hotlines 0299 802 932 or 0299 802 933.
Okay.
0299 802 932, 0299 802 933, and we have our SMS short code 4015. And you can WhatsApp us or call us on 020 697 3065.
Okay.
And we are on Facebook too as Food and Drugs Authority -GH, and Twitter at...
Oh, you're on Twitter?
Yes, GH_FDA.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Maria Lovelace Johnson, she's head of the Food Enforcement Department of the Food and Drugs Authority.